The last 2 weeks have been pretty wild. I've gained a couple hundred subscribers, a few dozen thousand views, and I've made a lot of people angry. The dislikes overpowered the likes pretty quickly. Some people were saying that they were going to falsely report the video, and I was even being talked about on Twitter. That's pretty crazy for a channel of my size. I've never experienced anything quite like this. And then less than 2 weeks after my video, the final security breach trailer comes out, and that brings even more traction to my video, but by association, it brings more hate. This has been quite an experience. I have some things to address. I'm going to try to get it all out of the way as quickly as I can. Skip to the timestamp on screen if you want to get to the main purpose of this video. First of all, a lot of people were upset that I was complaining about the game's delay. This simply didn't happen, though. The video was all about the game's marketing and my thoughts on the teasers that had been released. I did say that I had a problem with the lack of a release date, but I don't see how that's a problem whatsoever. I never had a problem with the game not being out, nor did I say that. If that was your takeaway from the video, you did simply miss the point. Second of all, people got upset that I put a lot of blame on Steelwool, but no blame on Scott. Yes, Scott does have to greenlight everything FNAF related, which I should have grilled him on in my video, but I can promise you that all of what we've seen wasn't his idea. Whether you see the Freddy and Friends cartoons as good or bad, I can promise you that it was Steelwool's idea, and Scott did nothing more than approve it. I should have grilled him on that as well, but I can promise you, without a doubt, that what we've been seeing was just ideas from others that he was just greenlighting. Third, people had a problem with how I was responding to people in the comments. I will stand by the fact that I was only being abrasive to those that were stepping out of line first. I was perfectly reasonable and polite to a lot of commenters, but those that were being obnoxious and rude to me were given that same energy, and I am not going to apologize for that. Lastly, I will not let the backlash of the last video deter me in any way. I was initially disappointed by the heaping amounts of hate, but I simply expressed an opinion online, and for one reason or another, it ended up getting a lot of attention. I'm going to keep making videos on Five Nights at Freddy's because I've been a fan of the series for over 7 years, and it's something that I really enjoy. I've been having fun making these videos, and I have way more on the way. If that's a problem with anyone, you can go gag on Tumblr Freddy's giant knob. My main critiques of Steelwool were based on their marketing, teasers, and trailers, so I think it only makes sense that I talk about the latest trailer. I admitted that I had some bias against Steelwool, but I think my concerns had a lot of valid reasons behind them. But to prove that I'm not biased, I will say right off the bat that this is a pretty damn sweet trailer. Does it make up for all the other shit? No, because why was it there at all? But this is a pretty awesome trailer, and I really want to give my thoughts on all the details. From a visual perspective, everything looks really nice. All the animations are so smooth and have a really charming style, honestly. I still don't particularly like the overall aesthetic, but when all the models are blended together with their environment so well, it looks really clean. Again, from a horror perspective, I think this will be the least scary FNAF game by a long shot. Even FNAF 3 at least has a somewhat unsettling atmosphere, and a lot of these bright colors will not put together a disturbing experience whatsoever. But it's up to you to decide whether or not that really matters. The graphics are definitely solid, and the animations are smooth, so it looks nice overall, even if I don't particularly care for all of the stylistic design choices. The gameplay was another concern of mine before, because we had no idea how the game would play at all, and that concern hasn't really gone away after this trailer. There were clips that took place in an office, and clips that were taken from security cameras, so it looks like there will be some gameplay that resembles the formula of the original games, which is pretty cool, but I don't think these cameras look all that good. The low quality of the cameras in the old games made it clear that the cameras were cheap, and it also made it harder to notice all the characters, and that made the game harder. Everything in the cameras in this trailer just look the same, but it looks like a Nintendo 64 game. No joke, Montgomery Gator in this shot literally looks like it's from Banjo-Kazooie. It's possible that I'm totally misinterpreting this since there are other tabs in the border during these clips, but that just adds a lot more questions. Why do we have access to the cameras at all times, if that's the case? Unless this is just from one location, I really don't know. We're also clearly going to be able to go inside of animatronics and control them. We've known about this since the Funko figure came out. I still don't really know how often this mechanic will be used or how it'll be playing in the final release, but I guess that's just something to wait for. The game appears to be fully free roam, which is definitely something to look forward to. The cameras that I was talking about are part of a menu, so we know that there will be missions. What I'm wondering is if we will be able to decide what missions we're going to do, or if this is just a reminder during that moment. I also still don't understand these decrepit puppet monsters that we see at the end of the trailer. This is obviously what was hidden in the first Freddy and Friends teaser, and their bodies say, "in your dreams," so maybe they're not even real? I have no idea. This doesn't fit the rest of the trailer at all, so I'm pretty confused. What this trailer did for me, personally, was show some really nice animations and some really well done visuals, but it made the game look a bit boring. Loads of clips of walking around a large area just don't make me excited to play it. It looks really nice, but it still just doesn't really look fun in my opinion. I don't know what the gameplay will be like, and it's clear that Steel Wool doesn't want to give too much away, so we'll see what I think of it when the game is actually out. So the game looks pretty cool, and although I didn't see anything that necessarily blew my mind, this trailer made me much more optimistic for this release. However, I still don't understand how this game can even happen. Just let me explain. This game takes place after Help Wanted, which takes place after Pizzeria Simulator and Ultimate Custom Night, which takes place after FNAF 3. FNAF 3 ended in 2023, so we're clearly pretty far beyond the era of the original games. But then how does this insanely massive Freddy-themed mall exist? William and Henry are dead, Freddy's name has a lot of dirt on it, and this is the largest location by far. Who funded this? Who designed and made this? How are people still going to this place? Sure, it could have been Vanny that designed the place, but do you see how big this shit is? Where does that money and work come from? Is it because Help Wanted said that all the old games are inaccurate and were made to give Fazbear Entertainment a bad name? Because if that's the case, then I'm ready to leave this franchise behind for good. If it's true that all the games are actually just lies that we have to forget about, then Scott made the most moronic decision possible. I understand that the story is moving into a new chapter, but Vanny's origin story is tied to William Afton, who is the main character of the original story. So these plot points still have to line up. I'm just really worried about where the lore will go from here, because I loved the original games and the story that they told, and I have no problem with a good continuation, but if this continuation does nothing but invalidate those cherished games, I will inherently hate it no matter what. And for the record, although I have a bias in favor of the older games, there's a lot of stuff I really like about the new stuff. Vanny has been a really fun character to follow. I really like the secret in Scott's site source code that reveals a conversation between William and Vanny. There's also the really brilliant Easter egg in the Halloween update of Help Wanted with Vanny's mask. Vanny also just has a pretty cool design, and I think she's a good replacement for William. But a good character can't save a broken lore. If this character's inclusion in this franchise results in the damage of the series thus far, it'll genuinely be heart-shattering. I think that's all I have to say up to this point. This trailer was really cool, and it definitely put a smile on my face. If you hate me because I called Steel Wool's teasers garbage, that's fine, but I'm really enjoying being more involved in this community. Until Security Breach releases, I will continue to make more FNAF content, but expect more on this subject in the new year.